Imagine a monk who decides to end his life by burying himself alive in a wooden coffin. He does not do this out of despair or suicide, but out of a quest for enlightenment and immortality. He believes that by undergoing a series of extreme ascetic practices, he can transform his body into a Buddha, a state of being that transcends life and death. He is not alone in this belief. He is following a tradition that dates back to the 11th century in Japan, a tradition that produced at least 17 mummies, known as Sokushinbutsu, or a Buddha in this very body. Who were these monks, and why did they choose to mummify themselves? This is the story of Japan's self-mummified monks. The origin of this practice can be traced to a sect of esoteric Buddhism called Shingendo, which combines elements of mysticism, shamanism, and mountain worship. Shingendo practitioners seek to acquire special powers, such as healing, divination, and protection, by performing austerities in the mountains, such as fasting, meditating, and exposing themselves to harsh weather. The ultimate goal of Shingendo is to attain oneness with nature and the cosmic forces, and to realize one's true nature as a Buddha. The inspiration for self-mummification came from a legendary figure named Kukai, also known as Kobo Daishi, who founded the Shingon school of esoteric Buddhism in the 9th century. Kukai was a scholar, poet, artist, and engineer who traveled to China to study the secrets of Tantric Buddhism. He brought back to Japan a vast body of teachings, rituals, and texts that influenced many aspects of Japanese culture and religion. He also established 2 sacred sites for his followers, Mount Koya in Wakayama Prefecture and Mount Yudono in Yamagata Prefecture. According to a hagiography written in the 11th century, Kukai did not die in 835, but entered a state of deep meditation called Nyujo in his tomb at Mount Koya. He is said to be still alive today, waiting for the arrival of the future Buddha, Maitreya, who will appear in about 5.67 million years. Kukai is believed to be the first Sokushinbutsu and the model for those who aspire to follow his path. The first recorded attempt to emulate Kukai was made by a monk named Shojin in 1081. He buried himself alive in a coffin, hoping to enter Nyujo and become a Buddha. However, when his disciples opened his tomb after 3 years, they found his body decomposed. It would take another 2 centuries before someone succeeded in self-mummification. The process of self-mummification is long and arduous, taking at least 3 years of preparation before death. The first stage is called Mokujikigyo, or tree-eating training. For 1,000 days, the monk follows a strict diet of only nuts, seeds, roots, and bark that he can find in the mountain. This diet reduces his body fat and moisture and makes him resistant to worms and maggots. He also engages in intense physical and mental exercises such as running, chanting, and meditating to burn off his calories and purify his mind. The second stage is called Nyojigyo, or abstaining from cereals. For another 1,000 days, the monk further restricts his diet to only pine needles, resin, and urushi, a type of poisonous lacquer that is used to make furniture and bowls. This diet causes his skin and organs to harden and shrivel and prevents decay and infection. He also drinks a special tea made from the sap of the urushi tree, which induces vomiting and purges his body of fluids and parasites. The third and final stage is called tomogiri, or cutting off from the world. The monk prepares a small underground chamber where he will spend the rest of his days. He enters the chamber with a bell, a candle, and an air tube. He sits in the lotus position, facing the direction of Mount Koya, and recites a mantra. Every day he rings the bell to signal his disciples that he is still alive. When the bell stops ringing, his disciples seal the chamber with a stone slab and wait for another 1,000 days. After 3 years, his disciples open the chamber and check his body. If his body is intact and preserved, he is declared a Sokushinbutsu and enshrined in a temple as a living Buddha. If his body is rotten and decayed, he is considered a failure and buried in the ground as a normal corpse. However, even if he fails, he is still revered as a holy man who sacrificed his life for the sake of others. Between the 11th and 19th centuries, at least 17 monks achieved Sokushinbutsu, and possibly more. Most of them came from the Shingon sect, and most of them were from the Yamagata region, where Mount Yudono is located. Mount Yudono is considered the most sacred of the 3 mountains of Dewa, along with Mount Haguro, and Mount Gasan. It is also the most secretive and mysterious, as no one is allowed to speak or write about what they see or experience there. It is said that Mount Yudono is where Kukai first practiced self-mummification and where his spirit still resides. The Sokushinbutsu are not only revered by the Buddhists, but also by the local people who believe that they have the power to grant wishes, heal diseases, and protect crops. They are also seen as symbols of endurance, devotion, and compassion, as they chose to suffer and die for the benefit of all beings. They are visited by pilgrims and tourists who offer prayers, incense, and donations and seek their blessings and guidance. The practice of self-mummification was banned by the Meiji government in 1879 as part of its modernization and secularization policies. The last known Sokushinbutsu, named Bukai, died in 1903 at the age of 96. He is enshrined at Churenji Temple, along with two other Sokushinbutsu, Tetsumonkai and Enmyokai. Tetsumonkai is the most famous and well-preserved of the Sokushinbutsu, and is nicknamed the Glass Buddha because of his shiny and smooth skin. Enmyokai is the oldest of the Sokushinbutsu and is said to have died in 1681 at the age of 85. The Sokushinbutsu are a unique and fascinating phenomenon in the history of Buddhism and Japan. They challenge our conventional notions of life and death, body and mind, and faith and reason. They also raise ethical and philosophical questions, such as, is self-mummification a form of suicide or a form of enlightenment? Is it a selfish act or a selfless act? Is it a violation of the natural order or a harmony with the natural order? How do we understand and appreciate the Sokushinbutsu, and what can we learn from them?